Or you can do it from your end?
Try it. You should be on now.
All right. So nucleus colonies, I don't see it coming across the. Can you turn on?
We have it online. I don't know how you would project it. Are you guys on the owl? Are you projecting a big screen right now, Tracy?
Yeah, I did it one time before and I don't remember how I did it. Audio. Do you know how to do it, Brad?
Nope. Wait a second.
No.
If I may, sorry, are we
Please.
looking for the closed captions on the bottom?
Yes.
So I believe, and I believe that's enabled by the user, the actual, so on his or her actual computer. I was
Okay.
able to turn them on the bottom, where you have participants, chat, reactions, etc. If you go to more, there's an option for you to turn on closed captioning, and it's working on my
Record
screen.
transcript, right? Is it transcript?
Mine had captions.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I know what Alex is talking about. It's the person who wants closed caption might want to go on their phone or something like that, or log in on their own in the Zoom meeting, because then at the top it says captions have been enabled, and you can actually click to say, I want to show them for myself. Is that what you're talking about, Alex?
It is like as right now I'm looking at captions, and as we're talking, I'm seeing the captions. So
Yep,
I was
same
able
here.
to
So
turn it
in
on.
theory, Tracy, as an alternative, if you're projecting whatever your computer screen is to the entire room, you should be
Right.
able to see that closed caption have been enabled, and you should be able to say, show it to me. And then it should show for everybody.
It's not on my more record transcript. Disable and it just says disable annotations for others, which obviously I don't want to do.
Could it be a limitation because she's a presenter?
I don't know, possibly.
Okay.
I've always done closed captions in entirely online meetings, so I have to admit, I
Can you
don't
go
know
on
for
Zoom?
sure what it looks like in hybrid.
Um,
I
can
think
you go
individual
on
users
Zoom
can-
and do it on your phone?
individual users can turn it on just by going to more and then click captions.
Yeah, I think so. I'm guessing it looks like there might be like a live audience. Is that what we're trying to solve for? Folks who are in a room
Yeah.
trying to follow this?
So he can join on the meeting on Zoom and
Yeah.
then he can turn the captions on his phone.
I understand.
Okay. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Just trying to go to Wi-Fi.
Okay, so we're going to move on to nucleus colonies. And the nucleus colonies, I have bolded and underlined that there are usually 5 deep frames, because now there's a whole plethora of options out there where people have tried to make their nucleus colonies appear less expensive. So they don't give you a full 5 frames. So when you purchase a nuke, make sure you're asking your vendor what's in it, because I've seen everything from 3-frame nukes, or people say, oh, I've got a 5-frame nuke, 1 frame's an expansion frame. What does that mean?
Filler.
It's a filler. I saw one that was advertised, 5-frame nuke includes 3 frames of bees, 1 expansion frame, and a feeder. Not a 5-frame nuke. So just be really careful about what you're purchasing. People often come to me and say, well, your nukes are more expensive, right? Because there's actually 5 frames of bees in there, right? And then the nucleus colony should also include a queen that is laying, not in a cage, but a laying queen, which is a big difference between packages and nucleus colonies. They are slightly more expensive, but you do have a better survival rate, and they build up a lot faster in the spring. Using the PSBA vendors helps our club too. So, and they're all vetted to make sure that they're solid vendors, and they always do a really good job of taking care of our members. Now, here's really important. It's in red for a reason. Order now. Please sell out. Every year I have people call me in April, May, June. Do you have any bees left? Like, no. They're gone everywhere, especially if you want a package. Your opportunity to buy a package is when these guys bring them up from California. They sell out really quickly. Nucleus colonies, you can usually stave off a little bit later and get a local nuke if someone has extras, but don't count on it. Now is the time to buy your bees. All right.
Out by April,
Yeah.
out by early March.
Yeah,
They're
true.
delivering in April.
True. All right, so the Langstroth components, here's what you're going to need. Most people here use telescoping covers. They go down over the top of the box. That keeps the wind and stuff from blowing underneath. The commercial guys use just the flat tops. They work, and they use those because they put them forward to a pallet, and they want to be able to push the boxes together. But I don't recommend that for backyard beekeepers. The telescoping covers will keep your bees a lot drier. Most people use an inner cover as well because then it keeps the lid from getting glued down by the propolis by the bees. Now, here's your next choice. You want 2 to 3, and I do say medium supers. Every year, there's a guy in the group that says, you can use deeps for your supers, and he's absolutely right. They weigh about 100 pounds, and when you pick them up, you're picking them up by the cleats on the side. My first bee club meeting, someone asked, can I use deeps for my supers? And this lady sitting in the back, who I think she was about 80 back then, and she's like, yep, you sure can, but you'll never do it again. So use mediums for your supers. You'll need 2 to 3. Queen excluder, not recommended for the first couple of years of beekeeping. They are optional, and they come with a lot of the kits. 2 to 3 deep or medium hive bodies. That's the 2 or 3 boxes on the bottom that the queen lays eggs in. Lots of people have gone to using all mediums. That way they're all interchangeable. You don't have to worry about which size you use. The downside is you have 30 frames to manipulate instead of 20. The upside is they're a lot lighter to move around. Your choice. You'll of course need frames for inside your boxes. So if you have 10 frame boxes, you'll need 10 frames for each box. Don't try to get away with putting 9 in there. Trust me, they make crazy comb wherever you leave too much space. And people are like, oh, I'll put one in next week. Not during blackberry season. That's too late because you go in there and they'll all be all wonky. And then most people use screen bottom boards. You can use solid bottom boards too. Robbing screens are great. I like them. You leave them off until the yellow jackets start looking for food. And then a feeder, which isn't pictured. There's options using a top feeder, frame feeders. The thing that I would say to new beekeepers not to use is that little mason jar that sits out front. Comes with a lot of kits. I have one. It's in my beginning beekeeper class box. If you put food out front, it encourages all your neighbors' bees to come eat too, and ants. And really, it's better whatever you pick a top feeder or a frame feeder so that it stays inside that box and only those bees inside that box can get to it. All right, and then you want to paint the outsides. Now, I do paint the top parts of my boxes too, just the top lip. I get a lot of hate online for doing that. I don't care. But we've got a lot of water that sits on our boxes, and the boxes rot out a lot faster if you don't just run your roller across the top too. Not going to hurt your bees. You just don't paint the insides. They'll paint that with propolis. Just leave that plain old pine. All right, and then protective clothing. Make sure you get yourself a bee suit. Whether it's just a jacket or a full suit, your choice. They have ventilated suits now. They are a little bit more expensive. They're a little heavy, but come July and August, you're going to be really happy you spent the extra few bucks to get one of those because those canvas suits are super heavy and oh my God, do they get hot. There's a bunch of different bee veils. Most of the suits come with those now. My best friend, best beekeeper buddy, Kathy, will remind me to remind you, don't put your veil on before you light your smoker because people put their suit on and then they light their smoker and then they give it a big puff and woof, the flames just melt that mesh. Just
Experience.
Kathy did, yeah. I wisely listened to her and I didn't do that. Yeah, woof. Not so much. Oh, and by the way, this is how Kathy beekeeps.
Yeah.
I think it was that day. And by the way, she also has shorts and flip-flops on. And I think that day she dropped a frame on her foot and looked down and there was bees crawling all over it. She looks down and goes, damn. So not recommended, but for those beekeepers that have been beekeeping for a long time, a lot of us in the summer will go without a suit when the bees aren't very defensive. But even Kathy puts her suit on towards the fall when the bees get defensive because they will light you up. In fact, there's a really good video on Western Washington beekeepers right now. This guy went, hopefully nobody knows him. This guy went online, I think it was posted last week, and he was looking inside his colonies to feed them, see if they needed any food, and it lit him up. What an idiot. I think he's a plumber.
Oh, I saw
He's a
that.
plumber too.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of crack going on too. All right, so the smoker is an essential tool. Hive tools. A frame lifter is optional if you get the frame lifter that has the pry bar on the end too. If you get that other one that's turned at a 90 degrees, those are great for scraping stuff off the lips and the edges and stuff, but they're not very good for prying up the things, so you kind of need a frame lifter too. As soon as I bought the J-hook, thank you, I threw my frame lifter in my beginning beekeeper thing and never used it again. Never looked back. All right, and this frame perch is kind of handy too. It makes for great Christmas gifts and birthday gifts. I have like 16 of them because all my friends give them to me. Hey, you got this really cool thing. So usually if you guys sign up for my beginning beekeeper class, I usually raffle one off. Give everybody a free raffle ticket at the beginning. Bee brushes, optional. Lots of people buy them and they come with kits. I hardly ever use mine. My friend Kathy, if you know anybody that has a big bird, a parrot, or if you're walking along the beach and find a big crow's feather, they work actually better for getting bees off your honey frames than brushes because the bees all get tangled up in the brushes and then they sting it. And then the other bees come and they're like, hey, what are they stinging? And then more of them get tangled up. It's kind of a cluster. All right, and so for those of you who are beginners or near beginners, Dawn, Beck, and I will each be teaching a beekeeping class this spring. Mine's in February. Actually, that's the wrong, it's not, I don't think it's here. It's over at, I'll fix this. It's over at the Center for Urban Horticulture. And then Dawn's class is via Zoom. Hers is 2 half days over Saturday and Sunday, and mine's go all out on Saturday and throw a lot of information at people. And I tell them, hey, this is a lot, but it's a great introductory course, whether you want to do it in person or online. All right, and then I want to gauge everybody's interest before I move on to those people that still have bees on whether if you're new or even if you're not, if you'd like to get together this spring, we're thinking about doing an equipment building class, which is actually an equipment, not manufacturing class, but buy your stuff online, non-assembled, bring it down to the class and we'll put it together as a group. You can help each other. I've got power tools that make things go faster and glue and everything. And so is there anybody, Magali, can you see online? Could you raise your hand online and let Magali know if you're interested? It's not a commitment. I just want to know if there's people that want to do that, then we can put a class together. Raise your hand in the room if you're, okay.
Looks like I have 2 online.
Okay, so we'll ask next month too, and we'll start looking to see if there's a room available in March to do that. Oh, I skipped over the painting part. If you're not particular about your colors on your colonies, bees can tell colors, and so I mix and match my colors. And Home Depot, Lowe's, McClendon's all has Oops paint on sale for sometimes less than the rebate. And so if you go down and see if they have Oops paint that's outdoor latex, a lot of times you can get it for 10 or 12 bucks for a gallon. And then once I get low on that gallon, I mix the next color with it. So I get a third color. So it's a great way to get your stuff painted and not spend a lot of money. All right, for those of you, raise your hand in the room if your bees are still alive. Woo! That's the majority. Love it. Hopefully, most everybody's bees online are alive as well. Here's my big worry for this year, which is a lot like 2 years ago, is that I'm really afraid that there's going to be a lot of bees starving this spring because it has been so warm. I think that a lot of the bees are up at the top already. And that means they're almost out of food. So if you haven't checked, now's the next dry day is a really good time to peek inside and add sugar. If the bees are even, sort of up on the top, either dry sugar or it's warm enough now, you could put dry sugar in a cardboard, picnic bowl and stick it in there or on a paper plate and they'll be able to get to it. If it gets super cold, they won't break cluster to get up on top of that. That's why in the picture I use newspaper on mine. I just put a sheet of newspaper down and pour dry sugar over it. You do have to make a bowl out of that too, otherwise a bunch of the sugar ends up on the bottom and they won't eat it once it's down on the bottom board, but they do eat through this. Whatever's left over, I just dump in a bucket and make syrup out of it in the spring so none of it goes to waste. And then if you're thinking about adding pollen patties right now, it's still too early. In my humble opinion, most people wait till mid to late February to do that because if they start brooding up now and it gets cold like it did last week, then they'll all cluster again and they'll abandon that brood down below and they'll have wasted it all. Then it'll get a chalk brood and be all yucky anyway. The brood that had started was well. Mine didn't have any brood yet. Did yours have any? Did you look?
I haven't pulled frames, but I just treated for mites again today.
Okay.
I got 3
Yeah.
colonies that I think still have brood in them. I treated with the oxalic acid today. I had 3 colonies that are still cranking out mites, and I think there's brood in there.
They are starting to bring pollen back though, so I think they're starting to brood up.
Yeah. And there's winter pollen too. There's a 4% you can get.
Yep.
Just throw a chunk on. If they eat it, you can add more. I do it on mine.
Yep.
Sometimes they need it. They're not bringing enough in. So
yeah. But if you want to put summer patties on, the rationale for those of you that are new, you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Bees need sugar for the older bees and for energy, and they need protein for the younger bees and for the brood. And the protein comes in pollen patties and in the pollen that they bring in. Well, there's not much pollen for them to bring in right now. And the thinking goes that if you want to start building up quicker for the blackberry bloom, which is our #1 flow, which can be early, then if you start feeding pollen patties in February, then they'll brood up faster and earlier, and then you'll have more bees to forage in June. That's or split or swarm away. It's really just an art, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't because they'll like put all this brood in, and then a lot of times late February or early March, and usually snows around my sister's birthday on April 17th. The bees, when they get cold, they'll cluster all up to survive, and then all this brood that's laid down below them will die. They'll get cold and die, and then they'll cannibalize it and they'll start over. So if everything goes just right, you'll have more bees. So it's one of those. I usually put it on right around Valentine's Day, depending on the weather. Sometimes there's 5 inches of snow on Valentine's Day. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and stop and see if there's any. Magali, if you could answer any questions that are online, you and Jeff, and then I can answer any questions that are here in the room, and we'll take a quick break before we head off to the main part of the meeting. Sound good? All right, I'll stop sharing.
Yep. Do we have any questions online? Feel free to unmute yourselves or type it in the chat, whatever works for you. I'm going to ask a question for those of you who are brand new beekeepers here. Is there any words you didn't know? Because I remember the first time I went to a PSBA meeting and people used words like brood and things like that. I was reading through a book, but I was trying furiously to be like, shoot, what was this word again? What did that mean? So if there's anything like that, don't hesitate.
Are we opening up to all questions?
I think
Oh,
so,
sorry.
yeah.
Nope, I think Beth was about to go. Beth, you can go, and then
Okay.
I'll go.
Mine's an easy one for Tracy. I just signed up for the backyard beekeeping class on the 28th. I was curious how much of it is in the classroom and how much is there any actual like exposure with bees? We're trying to decide if Mark will sign up too, because he's less of a classroom and more of a hands-on guy.
That's a great question. And the answer is it's all in the classroom for that particular day, but look up for the apiary parties. Those are other events
Okay.
that we do. And that's how I learned a ton at the beginning is I just went to the apiary parties. That's actually at the Arboretum. We have a whole apiary and that's our teaching grounds.
Okay.
And
And I've
those
been there
start in
once and I agree Mark would love that. So maybe I'll go to the classroom and then we'll both find an apiary party. Thanks.
So I'll go. Taking a couple of years off from beekeeping, and this is a question about my current equipment. In preparing for this spring, I've left some stuff out for outside for a couple of years. It's been covered. My understanding is like bees will kind of clean up some of it, but what are the suggestions for kind of cleaning, but like frames? Some of them have like the plastic guides and stuff like that. So.
question back to you, how bad does it look? What do they look like right now?
Fair. Some of them better than others. So like some of them will have like just dirt, which I'm not too worried about. Some of them will have like a little bit of mold or like just critters had gotten to it, something like that. And if the answer is like I've got to toss some, that's cool. But
I found that bees clean a ton of stuff. If you have something that looks really, really bad, you can basically kind of hose it down or something like that. I don't know if anybody's used other things, but for the most part, unless there's disease in there, the bees will start by just cleaning it up in the first place.
thank you.
How do you know if there's disease? And because I'm potentially going to be getting some secondhand boxes from a neighbor who got frustrated because all her bees died, not this winter, but last winter. So it makes me wonder, like, why did they die? Um, can you like put ammonia on it or something, or what's the recommendation?
Yeah, no, you can't really do that. That would be toxic to the bees. The knowing if there's disease is a tough one. You're gonna cover once you have your own bees, you're gonna cover what bees look like with different situations to recognize disease. And then with time, you kind of learn, like you see, oh, this larvae are looking like this. I know what's going on, kind of thing. Um, Having seen the folks around Seattle talk about diseases, there's a bunch of them that circulate. The very first thing that kills bees is veromites. And veromites, basically, they act like ticks. They vector a bunch of viruses. Those are not usually something that sits in the hive. So if your person had the bees die from mites, then you're fine. If there is something else in there, you can't really tell by seeing the equipment. You can't really clean the equipment. I mean, over time, in your own bees, what you would do is you would replace the wax on a semi-regular basis because it absorbs a lot of the stuff, the crud. Um, but that's kind of tough. So you do need to trust the person you're buying equipment from in that sense. You can ask the question of like whether that person treated for mites and what was their policy on treating for mites, and from there you can infer some things, but you won't be fully sure that there isn't any disease in there because there has been some.
Did she freeze for the rest of
Yeah.
you?
She did. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
Yeah,
jump in
she
and
froze.
say,
To follow up what she's saying is used equipment is if you can if they're a big person that they sell a lot of bees, they have a good reputation, it might be okay, but a lot of people try to sell their old stuff and they're selling it because they want to get rid of it because they know the disease is building up in that wax. You know, don't get into beekeeping and then set yourself up for failure by taking a risk like that. Um, it's so risky. I mean, we throw out a lot of the old equipment in the apiary every few years because of the same reason. It's just stuff builds up in the old equipment.
Jeff, I'm going to say I don't disagree with anything that you or Magali said, but I will also point out if this was from equipment from another fairly new, fairly beginning person who just had everything die out, uh, probably 80% or 90% or more of the cases where beginners' hives die out, it is from things that are not likely to survive in the hive over a winter. So, deformed wing virus is not
Mhm.
carried by the hive. Mites will
or
not survive the winter in the hive. So if
or
they've already
user
got
error.
this equipment, they don't have to like throw it out. Or am I
Yep.
missing something?
No, I agree with you, Brian. That's basically what I'm saying is like ask some questions and figure out if it's likely mites. Likelihood is it probably is what it is. For the most part, beginner beekeepers have their bees die either because they didn't deal with the Vera mites quite right, or it's actually not that easy to overwinter bees outside of even Vera mites. It's the climate in Seattle is harsh on bees, and so there can be things like that that kill your bees. It's the likelihood that you have European foul brood in there is relatively small, but know that you have that bit of a risk because that's been going around. There's been a bunch of people around PSBA that have caught European foul brood, so you know that if you're using used equipment in Seattle, you have a small likelihood that you have something like this in there. But I agree with Brian. Basically, what Brian's saying is very true, right? Most beekeepers lose their bees because they don't get ahead of Vera mites. That's most cases.
Okay. Thank you.
And Lee, in this particular, because I don't know that at this season I would remove the bottom one. I would just make sure that at the top they have enough food. So if for those of you who have bees, the bees will naturally move up in the hive. What you're risking is once in a while you get one of these colonies that eats a very narrow, straight up way. And then they get to the top of the beehive and they're like, shoot, no more food. And then they starve. Um, and so the one thing when the bees move up is you can leave the bottom the way it is. In fact, it actually provides insulation, I found. So I leave some space at the bottom actually for my bees. I'm in Montana where it gets to -40, and I leave some space in the bottom for my bees because it creates this air layer between the place where it's open and where the bees are actually. So that's very natural. I would keep it. But I would make sure that at the top they do have enough food that they're not going to starve. So add sugar if you need to at the top. Don't worry about the bottom box. You can switch them around when it's a little warmer and they start building a brood. Am I good to tell Tracy you were ready to go back? Or was there any other pressing questions? And feel free to still type them in the chat. I'm happy to answer, or Jeff can jump in and can help answer.
Bring it here. All right. Well, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
We've got a thumb drive with.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so you're doing a presentation today. Are you just talking or? Just talking, not fancy like that. Okay. So,
Even though you're the same.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I know. There you go.
Wow, there's a lot of people here.
Hey, Tracy, did you want me to jump in with the announcements, or is somebody in the room wanting to take care of that?
Yeah.
Jump in on what, Molly?
Yes.
Just the announcements for PSBA.
Yes, please. Yes, we're counting on you.
Okay, sounds good. Then I can, are you guys ready for me to share my screen?
Yeah, I'll start a whistle.
Why Allie's not working now?
Oh, because we muted it, remember?
No, you want the video to work, don't you?
What do you do? So you have it.
Oh, that would be this.
Here, hit the volume. Expands it out.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's a lot.
And then about the spring stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you guys hear us online?
Do you hear us, Molly?
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you. And I am trying to bring up the presentation. There we go.
Yay!
Are you guys seeing the front? Are you guys seeing everything?
Yeah. Can you see us on the camera?
Nope, you guys are just PSBA in person.
Oh, okay.
Let me know where you're ready, because I can hear a bunch of talking on your side. So happy to jump in at any point.
So, Bagley's ready to get started. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Oh, awesome. We can see you now. Hi, everybody. So you usually see Peter. So those of you who have come to meetings know Peter. So hi, I'm Magali. I'm actually the vice president of PSBA. And I'm jumping in for Peter, who is abroad today. So these are just, this is a small section we just talk about announcement, what's going on at PSBA in general. We're going to run through that very quickly. And then we'll have our vendors actually talk about their bees and talk about what it is that they're proposing to us. So PSBA, for those of you who are here for the first time, we are the Puget Sound Beekeepers Association. And really what we do is we promote the welfare of beekeeping. We try to protect honeybees. We try to educate beekeepers, which is what Tracy just did. And we try to get beekeepers to be good to bees, right? And kind of work on public relations. So you'll see us talk about things like why registering your hives actually helps, how, if you get into beekeeping, how do you talk to your neighbors about this? You know, things like that. We help folks with that. This is, so you have just an idea of who your offices are. We're all volunteers. This is an entirely volunteer-run organization. So Peter is currently our president. Before that, the person was Don Beck, and Don is actually the person teaching one of the classes. And then a bunch of us are helping out. Those are the named position. We also have a whole bunch of other board members who are helping in all sorts of different capacities. We have a lot of functions that are happening, such as we go try to teach schools and people in schools, you know, about beekeeping and about bees, things like that. We have a lot of initiatives going on. So for those of you who are new here and are just looking to get involved, I started getting involved. I had never really been in a beehive. So you can absolutely find things that you can do. You don't need to be aware of how to do beekeeping to do things. Just raise your hand, tell us you're interested, and we'll plug you in with various events or things that are going on. So this is our trustee list. We also have, just to bring attention to folks, we have neighborhood captains. Those can be found on the website. Neighborhood captains are people that are kind of close to you physically that usually keep bees. And they can be a cool person in your neighborhood for you to talk to if you're into beekeeping, if you have questions, if you're going to get involved. Neighborhood captains can be a good reference point. And they are all over Seattle. You can find a map on our website that kind of shows who is where. So Tracy, I think you're a neighborhood captain, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, so typically, see somebody like Tracy is a neighborhood captain, and so Tracy lives in a certain place in Seattle, and so we have neighborhood captains kind of all over the place around Puget Sound. For those of you who are interested in doing our apiary parties, oh, sorry, apiary registration. Sorry, that's not apiary parties. Apiary registration is recommended for all of you. It's minimal. I think it's like $10 to register your beehive to say, hey, I have beehives to the state. What it does is the state passed a law that says that if you register your bees with the state, you automatically are protected against your bees maybe somewhere stinging somebody, because that's what bees do sometimes. So it's really recommended for you all to register your beehives. It's also a good way to keep track of where the bees are and who has beehives for the state. So it's helpful on all sides. So this is how you can you can register your beehives. I will post that in the chat if nobody gets to it before I'm done. So you can go and do that. For those of you who are experienced, and we don't want first year beekeepers doing this, you can be on the swarm list. The swarm list is a place where people out in the community can find beekeepers who are experienced to go find swarms of bees that might have landed in their tree, in their yard, and they don't know what to do. So consider being on the swarm list if you're interested, and feel free to grab the QR code.
I have a QR code. It's to be awesome.
Was there a question?
Oh.
Okay. Last announcement was for the February meeting, we will be talking about making better queens. For those of you who are here for the first time, we run our meetings this way. We have usually Tracy talk to us for about half an hour on a beginner beekeeper lesson. Then we kind of do these announcements. And then the second part of the meeting is some folks talking to you about various things. Usually it's, for the most part, it's researchers and scientists that can talk about their research. So you start learning about the scientific side of beekeeping. Today, it is going to be the people around Seattle who can sell bees to you. So you get to know what it is that they have to propose, and you can kind of learn about their business and kind of what they're doing. With that, I will stop. I do not know if there are any questions. Feel free to ask them. I can't hear the room really well, so if there's questions in the room, you might need to repeat them for me if you want me to address them. And in the meantime, I'll post things in the chat for those that didn't catch QR codes and links. I'm hearing mostly silence, so I'm assuming most of our bee vendors are in the room. Do we have anybody online that's a bee vendor? It looks like not. So in the room, I might invite you all to get organized, and feel free to jump in whenever you're ready. I don't know who wants to get us started.
Molly, did Peter give you information for a couple of the vendors? Or do they need to have their sticks ready to carry their presentation?
He did
thumb
not give me
drives.
anything.
No, okay. All right.
I am happy
Anybody-
to go on email and grab things. If some of you don't have, something easy to present, I am more than happy to have you send that to me. I can put my PSBA email in the chat. I can download it and be the person, moving the slides or anything that you need.
That'll be too long, that'll be too hard. It's fine.
Well, we could do it while someone else is.
Oh, can't we just put it
Yeah,
onto the desk?
totally.
Yeah, that, I would prefer that. Is that what you're gonna do? Okay. Do you want to drag them to desktop now, just so they're ready? It's a texture. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's that, just direct. You don't need that. Yeah. Thank you. I have. Having the same sort of cool. Yeah, so it does. Perfect. And I think what happens if it goes showing back? It always says these pictures.
Okay, so that's showing up here is, can you see the first slide on, Zoom? No, we cannot.
Yeah,
So
so
we'll need to share.
the other thing is that this has to show up there.
Yeah.
I think we have to see what slideshow.
Yeah, I think we need to share it to the meeting first, is the thing. So. Okay, can you see the slideshow now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes.
Is there a way to move that?
It's not in presentation mode, but yes, we can.
Okay. I'll try to get it.
Yes, that's not working out. I think that. Yeah, the problem is this is not showing here.
Right, I don't know how to get that to show there, the captions.
I think we have to, I'm gonna go out of signature.
Okay.
So this is not working well. Yeah. There we go. So now why did they kick that out? I think it's, yeah, so I think.
But well, he's got a computer. No, somebody's so he's he's got it right.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I think we're yeah. Yeah, I'm
Did you want me to start?
if you'd like to, I could start too, whatever.
It's immature. Okay.
Because otherwise, and then Jeff called me, he's like, honey, this guy, I'm like, oh yeah.
So Tracy, how, I'm not quite sure, like, what can be seen. Can I just stand here and see? No worries, Brad. Okay.
Sitting on this. Are you?
Say again.
Did you hit share it?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, you can see that, right? That's nice.
I see a screen not in presentation mode. If that's where you're at, then that makes sense.
Yeah, we've got a presentation mode up on the projector, but are you seeing it just the with the black
Yeah, I'm
bars around
seeing.
it?
Yeah, correct. I'm not seeing the
Okay.
presentation mode here. Have you shared the full screen rather than just a presentation? This might be a one way
Maybe
around
that's
it.
probably what happened. Here we go. Maybe.
Success.
Yes. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna start. My name is Dave Schiefelbein. I'm one of the vendors at the PSBA meeting tonight. My company is Elite Honey and Bee. You can find me online, elitehoneyandbee.com, all spelled out. What we're selling this year is packages, nukes, and mated queens. We source our bees out of Pikeham's honeybees in Orland, California. That's a second generation beekeeping business. That's Russ Higham right there. His father started the business in 1978. Russ took it over. I can't remember when he took it over. He actually bought the company in 2018, and now he's the sole person running that business. Russ is a really interesting guy. He grew up around bees. He knows bees better than anyone that I know. He's quite well respected in the profession. He's a queen producer. He's a broker for bees and almonds. He has his hands in all sorts of things related to beekeeping. Okay, I like to start out these talks always talking about our warranty. The queen is really the lifeline of the hive. We need strong queens. Without a strong queen, you don't have a good package, you don't have a good nuke, you don't have a good colony. We believe in the quality of our queens, the queens that Russ Higham produces. So we have pretty much an unconditional guarantee. If we sell you a queen that does not perform, we replace her. Okay, I'll start with our 3-pound packages. They come with a 2026 newly mated queen. We usually in the past have sold 3 races of bees. This year we have 4 races, and you'll see I wrote races/lines because one is really not a race. We have a Caucasian, New World Carniolan, Italian, and that last one up there we jokingly call the Higham hybrid. This is a bee that Russ has been working on for a couple of years. It's a hybrid cross between an Italian and a Carniolan. The idea being that it has the build-up power of an Italian, but it doesn't eat itself to death. It's got the frugality of a Carniolan. So it is definitely a hybrid. There's nothing wrong with the hybrid. It's just not a race. Saskatraz, the ones we buy in this country, those are hybrids. That's not a race. That's a line. Golden West, same thing, that's a line. Buckfast, same thing, that's a line. Cordovan, same thing. So just because it's not a race does not mean it's a good bee, because all those bees I just mentioned are good bees. Cost for a 3-pound package is $204. If you return the box to us, which we really hope you do, you'll get $4 back. That would drop the price to an even $200. We make 2 trips to California. First one, our distribution date back here in Clyde Hill, which is basically Bellevue, is April 12th. And then we do it 2 weeks later, April 25th, a Saturday on that second one. First one's a Sunday, second is a Saturday. Just a little bit about packages. We sometimes go out in the field with the package producers. My life before beekeeping was as a photographer, so I like to go out and I like to see where the action is, and I like to take pictures of it. If you've never seen that before, for the people that are in the room, please look at the slideshow that we have going on our table here. It's quite an exciting process if you've never witnessed it before. I can tell that they are packaging up our bees in this photograph right now. Usually they're racked in racks of 5. We have width restrictions in our trailer that we need racks of 4. So those they do specially so we can transport them easily. Okay, the second thing that we sell, of course, is a 5-frame nuke. Please note that it's a deep nuke. Tracy talked a little bit about nukes and frames and what fits in what. Most of the time you can most of the nukes sold are deep nukes. There are some people that sell Western nukes, medium nukes. A deep frame will work in a medium hive, but you have to come back in a couple of weeks when Tracy talks about how to do that, because it's a little bit of a process to make it work. Once again, we have 4 types of bees: the Caucasian, the New World Carniolan, the Italian, and the someday famous Hycom hybrid. Cost is $299. Again, we offer a rebate on that box, so that will drop it to $279. We really do hope you bring the boxes back to us, both the nukes and the packages, because those do get recycled and it keeps them out of the waste stream. Same delivery dates, April 12th, April 25th in Clyde Hill. Just a little, I'm not going to read everything that's on this slide. There are some advantages to getting nukes over a package. And the most basic one is you get a jump start on your colony with a nuke as opposed to a package. That's because you have brood, an accepted queen. It's really just a mini colony that is fired up and ready to go. All of our nukes, the queens have been hatched out in that box that you get. That is a true nuke. Tracy was making reference to some nukes being not 5 frames of bees. We sell 5 frames of bees. We don't stick an empty frame in there. We don't stick a feeder in there. All the bees in that nuke have, or I should say all the offspring in that nuke comes from the queen that is included with the nuke. Okay, we do take a hands-on approach with our nukes when we're in California. TJ, my partner here at the table, he and I drive down together and we meet one other person in California, and we spend 2 days out in the nuke yards hand selecting the nukes that we bring back. If we bring back to a couple hundred nukes, we have looked at 1,000 frames. We've looked at every frame that's in those hives over the course of 2 trips. So what are we checking for when we're inspecting all these nukes? We're looking for a good brood pattern because that indicates a well-laying queen. We want to make sure there's enough pollen and honey sources and no obvious sign of disease. If we see chalk brood, that nuke is not coming back with us. If we see, heaven forbid, European foul brood, that nuke is staying there. We're not getting anywhere close to that. So we transfer the frames once we've inspected them to our own boxes. Those are those recycled boxes I was talking about a minute ago. That's our rig that we go down with, a truck and a trailer. This is late in the day. We've closed up all of our nukes. If we distribute, say, like on a Sunday, this is Friday night. We close up all of our nukes, we load them up. Saturday morning, we get all of our packages loaded up. We drive straight back to Seattle on that same Saturday, and then we do our distribution day on the following Sunday. So you're getting bees that are really fresh. They've not been in either the package or the nuke very long. Then we give them to you and you take them to your yard. I'm sorry. This is our distribution spot in Clyde Hill. All the bees are in that double garage. It's nice and cool and dark in there. We assign times to people for them to come pick up their bees. So we're never backed up with everyone coming at the same time. We just try to make it a smooth and easy process.
Excuse me, can you guys hear the owl now? Yeah. Sort of thumbs up.
Oh, okay. Last thing we saw are mated queens. This is a 2026 queen, of course. Same race and line. The cost is $50. We have not raised our price in 4 years. We're $50 is a lot for an insect, and we just try to maintain. We've had some slight increases ourselves, but we've just kind of absorbed those. So anyone can order queens now. and up through April. You don't get them until our first delivery date, which is April 12th. And some people like to plan ahead if they know they have a colony that they want to split. We'll have queens to you, April 12th, and then throughout the season. We maintain one, sometimes two queen banks from April to right about October 1st. Pick up during the summers in West Seattle. That's where I live. That's where the queen banks are. And then, like I said, we maintain a queen bank throughout the season. Okay, that's all I have. Right now, there's a QR code to find our website for the people in the room. You can also come to our table. We have the QR codes here as well.
One box returned against $20 off, but what if I have two boxes of returns?
Yeah, we pay for each box that is returned. I will tell you, each year when we do that rebate, we ask you to return those by the 1st of June. Because sometimes people will show up to pick up their bees and they'll bring their new box back. Well, we needed it when we went to California. So we do have a deadline on that. And even when people bring it back and they're in good shape, we usually work something out and try to get a read.
So it's $20 off each box in the deadline.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Right, sure, it's down.
that was good.
Okay. Can folks online see the first slide?
Yes.
Perfect.
They might not be able to hear you on that.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, also sit here.
You need to reply for the advance.
Oh, okay, so I'll switch to that side.
Right.
Okay. So, hello everyone, my name is Sean. I'm here representing Rainy Day Bees. We are a and no.
I got her. Go on. High tech here.
Okay. There we go. Turning it around. I'll just okay. So, Rainy Day Bees, we are located here in Seattle. Our headquarters is in Shoreline. We manage 200 beehives. About a third of those are in urban backyards and rooftops spread throughout the Seattle and the east side. We also have some larger farms farms in forest land areas in Carnation and Buckley. Our head beekeeper, Peter, has been beekeeping for 15 years. We have in Shoreline, our honey processing facility is a WSCA certified facility with large scale decappers, multiple extractors, and honey like heating and bottling tanks. That facility is open to other beekeepers. So if you do have your own honey that you would like, you have frames that you'd like to process, or honey that you'd like some clean kitchen space to bottle with, we do have that available. You'd have to talk with Peter. I don't know that. I don't have that off the top of my head, but it's meant for like generally the community usage. And we also offer beekeeping consulting and coaching throughout throughout Puget Sound area. We sell our own honey as like hyper local honeys or creamed honeys, and we actually just finished up a very successful little pop up in downtown Seattle with the Seattle Restored. That was a holiday pop up for us. First time, very interesting. So our bees, we really specialize in the Golden West line of bees. Our nucleus hives are $300. The packages are $200. We also offer Italian and Carniolan and Saskatraz for between 190 and 195, as well as queens from various sources. We maintain a queen bank throughout the spring and summer, and can work with various other queen breeders during that time. Pickup is in either at our headquarters in Shoreline. It's also at Jubilee Farm out in Carnation. And general timing for that is about the first week in first week in April is for package pickup, and first week in May for nuke pickup. That varies depending on the weather, of course. So the Golden West line that is developed by Randy Oliver of Scientific Beekeeping. He's been working on this line to be mite resistant and gentle and productive. They are raised up in the Sierra Nevada mountains, so they match the climate here fairly well. While it is in California, they do get rain, they get snow, they get cold weather. So we find that they're pretty well adapted to the Pacific Northwest. Randy and his sons, they only breed off of queens that have had a 0 mite load the previous year without treatment. So those are the only ones that get they get bred on. So they are, they're definitely raising them for mite resistance. Naturally, that does not mean that you're not going to get mites. We have plenty of mites because there's lots of mite migration around here. But they do start out with an advantage. The nukes, sorry, yes. Are they second year queen? No, it's the bred queens are he uses the queen breeding is using those lines of queens. Yeah, yes, but the queens themselves, you start with the queen genetics that have that are, yeah, and yes, they are going to be breeding with other drones, but he keeps them more controlled. Like it keeps the queen mating yards away from water areas.
The yards are pretty isolated.
Yes, they're isolated yards. That's what I was trying to say.
Keep 6 breeding. So if you put your queen rearing yards 2 miles in breeding, you keep them 6 radio miles apart. These colonies are not going to fly into these colonies travel paths. So you control it like in a scientific experiment where you geographically put your colonies in order to retain your beingness.
Exactly.
Not helpful.
Yeah. Right. So for the nukes, those are raised directly by Randy Oliver. They are all raised in its queen's been raised in the nuke that you receive. They've never been caged. They haven't been moved around like we've been talking about. We've worked with the Olivers since about 2016. We're very familiar with them. We trust their nukes. They always come quite nice and strong. 5 grams of bee brood and pollen. We've never had any complaints about the nukes that we get from Randy. As far as the packages, those are coming from Olivera's honeybees. Those not Randy Oliver, separate person. They are raised in isolated. Those queens are raised in isolated apiaries. He started raising them in 2025. then mixed with bees from different sources, like a standard package. So that you'd have a caged Golden West queen with a standard population package of bees. We also get Italian, Carnies, and Saskatraz coming from Oliveras. Oliveras is the U.S. breeder of the U.S. Saskatraz hybrid. They're quite hardy bees with a decent amount of mite resistance. We've had some good success with them in our climate, and again in the climate around here. Of course, Italians and Carnies also available, and all of the Oliveras are certified free of any Africanized genetics, so not going to have that like extra aggression from there, as well as certified hive beetle free. As I said, we've been working with Randy since 2016. We've been providing nukes from Golden West since 2018. Then all our nukes are directly from him. Queens raised by the family, so it's coming straight from them through us. The pickup is in Shoreline and Carnation, so either east side or in the city, or whatever is more appropriate for you. Oops. And we do provide a guarantee on all the packages. They're going to be we check them. They're in good condition. Come with a live queen. If you ever have any queen issues, we will gladly replace them. Nukes the same way. Those nukes have a guarantee at least out to 1 month after delivery. Of course, mishandling of if there's any mishandling of the bees, that's another thing. But we are customer focused on this. We want you to get the bees to get you guys off to a good start. So, all right. So here is the QR code to learn some more. This goes directly to our talking about all the bees that we provide. It has more information on the Golden West lines and our work with Randy Oliver and Oliveras. If you have any other questions about how we do, please let me know. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's the name's Summation. Okay. Running stagnants. Yeah. Is that?
I'm gonna search with Bing, but thanks. You said, Kevin, you said Cassian.
Kossian. Farms. Click on cautions the best year work ever. And you can go down a little bit to find these. And then there you go. Let's have that. Yeah. All right. So
Oh, wait, I gotta get onto the Zoom. Oh. Sean, did you exit the meeting? Okay. Hold on.
I can see you on the screen, Tracy, but I don't know. I'm seeing the owl video in case that helps.
Okay.
you just gotta share.
I gotta get to the Zoom. Here we go. Come on.
Glad you know how it is.
Should be good.
All right, another bee salesman, right? So my name's Kevin from Cossian Farms. The most important thing when buying bees is don't shop for price. Shop for who you're comfortable with. Everybody can get up here, they can give you their pitch. We're all going to be about the same price. Shop who you can identify with. You buy cheap equipment, you're going to live with the results of it. You buy cheap bees, you're going to live with the results of it. Buy from who you trust. It's kind of like when you buy a car. I want you to buy from me. They want you to buy from them. I don't really care. I just want you to be happy because you're going to go through your beekeeping season and you're going to remember the person that you bought from. Either you had a great experience or you had a crappy experience. We bought crappy bees before and never buy them again. So I always go, we buy from who we trust. So who are we? Cossian Farms, Mike and I, we run about 130 beehives or colonies in the lower Skycomish Valley. So that's from Skycomish all the way down to Monroe. We're a varietal honey keeper. We do maple honey, fireweed, blackberry, honey within the lower valley. We do creamed honey, honey sticks. We do whiskey barrel infused fireweed honey. About 13,000 pounds. If you're a beekeeper, you sell honey in pounds. That's about 1,100 gallons to run in the summer time frame. Why do we sell bees? So we were, when you buy from us, you're going to get 20 years of experience. We were aligned with Snowish Bee Company when Corey and Sarah Marchand sold it off. We were the ones that were going down with the Snowish Bee Company to buy the bees, bring packages back. In exchange, Corey sold them to us at a discount so we can restock our apiaries. So when Snowish Bee Company got sold off to Melissa, we said, hey, we're just going to go get our own bees from California. We're not into it for the profit. We're into it for the bees to be able to restock. If you ever made a trip to California, these guys will tell you it is a labor of love. You get in a truck with your best buddy and you drive for 14 hours. And then you get the cheapest motel room you can at Motel 6 and you wake up and you have breakfast together, you load bees, and then you drive back 15 hours. And then you put on a smiley face because everybody's excited. That is not a glamorous task. What you are paying for with us is you're paying for a little bit of time, you're paying for fuel, the hotel, and you're paying for the bees from where we get them at. I can tell you our bees are better than the next person. They're bees, right? They're from Northern California. Buy from who you trust. What do we sell? We sell Italian, Carniolans, Saskatraz, Golden West. Back up 5 minutes ago. I could take his presentation just the same. We like Carniolans and we like 4-pound packages. A lot of people are going to be selling you 3-pound packages. We push the 4-pound because you get more bees, you get a faster buildup. And we really like Carniolans. Mike went through his colonies, 75 last weekend. He had 5 dead outs. I went through my 26 colonies. I had 1 that I lost from starvation. We used to run Italian. We really like Carniolans because they overwinter a lot. They're more resistant. We will sell you marked queens, unmarked. We will sell you vaccinated queens, non-vaccinated queens. And we will sell you straight up queens if that's what you want in order to restock and replenish your apiary. We have a limited number that we bring up on April 9th. That's our delivery in Monroe. It's $225 for a 4-pound package, cash and Venmo discount. We are not for profit in this. We pay the expenses, we go down and get them. We want to create a positive experience for you, the beekeeper. A couple other things about the packages that we do. We like to push Carniolans. We like 4 pounds, and we like vaccinated. So much like any beekeeper, the learning curve is like this. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6. Now I'm killing it, right? If you don't try different things every year, maybe you buy from me this year and you didn't like the bees, so you buy from Rainy Day next year, you didn't like the bees. You buy from Elite and you didn't like the bees, you keep trying something new. I don't really care where you buy the bees from, it's that you are happy at the end of the day with the product that you have. You talk to 10 beekeepers, you're gonna get 50 opinions. And then you're gonna go, as a beekeeper, you're gonna try and figure it all out, right? So it's not about the sales pitch. When we sell bees, we bring back a limited number. Our returning customers are gonna buy from us again. Why am I selling bees here? This is the 4th bee club that I've attended and will attend this month. It's because people that had overwintered bees are not going to buy from me again. It's the individuals that had the dead house. It's the individuals that had them starved. It's the individuals that got to President's Day weekend, and that is your determiner if you have bees. If after the 20th of February you have bees, you're not talking to any of us. If after the 20th, the cold got them, you're calling one of us 3. And I would say figure out where you're going to buy from and buy quickly, because once they're gone, that's it. Lights out. I can't tell you how many phone calls do you get in April, people wanting bees. They are non-existent. We've already made our commitments to where we're buying from. We've already made financial commitments, and now we need to be able to bring it home. A couple other things that we have in our packages is you'll get them into wood carriers. You pull the sugar syrup out, flip them over, you really roughen the bees. Ours come in a V bus. The end opens up, and you go like this, and they come right out. They're nice packages. That's the supplier that we like to deal with. The wood ones are great. They're reusable. We preferred this. When you buy a rack of bees, they come stacked together. They give you the separation and packages to keep them cool. That's my pitch. Pretty easy.
So you rank Cardinal and Open West, you prefer the Cardinal?
Yeah, I prefer the Cardinal ones.
You just had their success.
Huh?
Yeah, their success.
I've had great success. Italians are better foragers. I think Cardinals build up better. But if you talk to the high live man here, the question you have is I treat my bees like super athletes. I use ProBee Health. I don't measure it out by the tablespoon. We're mixing 50, 60 gallons at a shot. It goes glug, glug. I'm not weighing out my sugar. I got a 50-pound bag of sugar. I bust it in half into 2 5-gallon buckets. We go through a ton of pollen stuff. And we treat the bees like pro athletes. We're also pushing our colonies through 4 nectar flows to maximize the honey. We have a treating pattern that we treat 4 times a year. There's no secret to it. I mean, these guys will tell you they got different treating patterns that you do. What you like, if you got to constantly evolve fun. So there's my pitch. Costing Farms, you can buy them online. We're here, Venmo, Zelle, credit card, cash. Email me a check, give me an IOU. Nukes. I'm not fancy. No nukes, because the weight of a nuke and the amount we can fit on a truck is too much. We pulled nukes from Old Soul and on the California border. They're too heavy and they're too pristine for us. So we prefer to do the packages. We have a fixed number. We restock our 8 years and spread the love to here.
What's your success rate over the winter?
What's that?
What's your success rate over the winter?
This year or last year?
Well, yeah.
Right now, what are you talking about now?
We're talking about last year, you're like, everybody's to believe and big crash and where's the bad problem?
Yeah, there's a couple things you can do. I mean, you guys can talk. Well, I mean, my overwintering technique, I put a 2x4 under and I tilt the lid for vaporization, roll forward. I mountain cap everything for moisture absorption into the sugar. I treat 4 times a year. And I pull my liquid feed off before Halloween. And then I put a feeding shim on there, and then I use a foot box with shivs. So it's food, light management, and moisture, 3 things.
I think you would ask is what percentage of the.
Oh, this year, all but 1.
They all survive?
They all survived so far, but I haven't gotten to President's Day weekend. So I expected a full hive inspection on Saturday. And I lost 1 starvation. The other 25.
Wow.
Mike had 10 losses out of 75. That's good. I mean, it's not about buying bees. I don't want you to buy bees from anybody. I want you to over winter and split and be successful. So it's also about buying the knowledge from the person you trust. I mean, if you trust me or you trust Rainy Day or a lead, you're gonna get the knowledge you want. It's your hobby. At the end of the day, we're just here to give you bees and to pass on whole thing.
Patrick, Ned, David, Mark, what's what did you say? You got queens that are vaccinated?
Vaccinated, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, you guys, do you know about vaccinated queens?
Heard about them. I don't know what they are.
Okay, so vaccinated gives more disease mitigation within the bees, so it's how they treat the queen within the food. You can read about it online. It's about a $10 or $15 upcharge. So what we did this year is Mike and I each bought half and half, vaccinated and unvaccinated. And so what we're looking for is, it's not necessarily about mite management, but it's about the disease control. And so what we're doing is a control study on the bees to see how they overwinter, what the mite counts are when we do an alcohol wash. And to see how they pull out of winter and then build back up with winter resistance.
So vaccinations was to last for the lifetime of the queen, or just?
I think it's 1 year. We're typically replacing our queens every year. Your queen has a life cycle of about 35 years. There's a reason you don't breed a 7-year-old woman, right? Sorry. No, there's not a reason, right? We're gonna breed a younger, right? So we like we like to replace them every year.
What kind of year?
In the spring. So we're also buying queens that we're coming back. And then we're gonna do splits, and then we're gonna monitor our old queens versus our new queens. And then later in the summer after the fire bleed, we'll also replace them.
Beckley, are there any questions online for any or all of the vendors?
That's a question for online folks. Online folks, do you want to raise your hand or put things in the chat?
So I have this form list. And I also just want to say that there is a fourth vendor that we have vetted, PSBA. That is named Quentin, and he had a family matter and isn't able to be here to present tonight. But his information is available at the website with. So all of these guys are good information on our website too. It's yes. Or you know, I'll find out because I have it's.
You guys work with Carrie?
Carrie Terrio, yeah. Some of you might have known Carrie Terrio from some beekeepers. A long time ago, he was secretary. Carrie has retired and he has moved to Twist. His company was Cascade Natural Honey, so honey and bees. When Carrie retired, it kind of got split in two. TJ here still has Cascade Natural Honey, and I have the bee selling arm, which is Elite Honey and Bee.
Yeah, because Carrie was in Glidden too.
Carrie was in Bridal Trails in Bellevue, but East Side, yes, and that's why we try to stick with an East Side distribution.
You guys, I'll post the link for Puget Sound Beekeepers vendor PDF in the Puget Sound Beekeepers Facebook group. Or you can find it on the website and go to Queens, Bees, and Nukes from the drop down. So go to the link or go to Puget Sound Beekeepers Association, click on honeybees, and then you can scroll down to the link. So I'll put that on the Facebook page too.
Someone had asked about Quentin's company at Seattle Bee Services.
So I'm still looking and I don't get there.
Seattle Bee Services.com.
I'm putting it on the Facebook page right now.
So we're building a new website. It will be live this spring. This website still works, but it's challenging.
We have we have a question from online if the room wants to take it, which was asking after local overwintered nukes and where to find people who might offer local overwintered nukes.
So this is Tracy. Several people have overwinter nukes and Rainy Day Bees does. I also do on my Seattle Honeybees page. Feel free to go there. Can you know of any other people that have local nukes? West Sound beekeepers, they're in the area has local nukes too. People are on the west of it.
Stanley.
Are they local ones though?
Yeah, they're up in Sketchy. Right.
So he has his own music. Okay.
I think it's important to talk about niche. You kind of touched on it in the beginning, but why don't we talk about what a good niche is? Like, what is the composition of the fly frames? Because you could buy nukes from somebody and be like, oh, I just paid $280. I got a great set of bees. And then you find a queen cage in there.
Oh, right.
Okay. And I've had that. And they try and pull a quickie on you. And it's like, oh yeah, this is an overwintered nuke. It's like, why is there a cage in there? This is beekeeper, you are not gonna know the difference. So why don't you tell them what a good 5-frame is and buy stuff?
Good 5-frame nuke is gonna be a nice core, solid.
Or Sean,
Yeah.
also known as Working with Peter. Can you come up here for that?
Sure. This is super important.
Yeah, so a good 5-frame nuke is going to be at least 3 or 4 frames of solid brood with a nice solid pattern, no gap and minimal, if any, gaps, with a nice spiral laying pattern so that the queen's been she's not doing it spotty, she's not doing it randomly throughout. You're going to have 2 nice resource frames on either side with the capped honey on them and plenty of pollen facing the brood. And it's going to be coming out of a hive where you're just taking the frames out of an existing hive, dropping them right into the nuke. All those bees all know each other already. You don't have the package situation where you have a lot of bees are kind of shaken up from a bunch of different hives. They have to get themselves started. They've got comb to work with. They've got brood to work with. They've got workers, and they've got a queen who knows kind of how to do her job laying. So, yeah, and then if they've overwintered, then that queen has been through the cycle before. She does not learn. She's not still kind of got those shaky legs that some newly mated queens are going to have. And you look at her, she does her job. She makes a whole bunch of bees and gets the hive off started as fast as possible. So yeah.
The other thing good nuke has is 5 drawn frames.
Yes. Sorry, they're kind of implying that, but yes, that deserves to be stated exactly. Yeah, you do not want frames in there that are like still where you can still see foundational.
Right. Or I mean, in the corner is fine, but
yeah,
once in a while I've heard people say, "I got a frame that had no wax on one side," or it was just a bare frame, and I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
Like, what's the point of the nuke? At that
Right.
point, the whole point is that they've got the resource. They don't need to be killed.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
exactly. Later in the season you go, the sellers will scrape their resources. So what that means is you will not get frames of brood. They will realize they didn't have enough queens. They will drop a queen cage into the nuke, and they will be selling you what I would call a sub-one. You want, if you're going to buy a nuke like Rainy Days, you could take that nuke home, you can set it on your porch, and they can live in that nuke for a couple, 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? And you'd be just happy, you don't deal with it. I have to go and install.
I would not recommend.
It's a different quality of, I think, of togetherness of the bees versus the package is unfamiliar bees, unfamiliar queen, they're still getting used to each other, and then they have to start up again, go together.
I would argue that the best nukes are the ones that are so packed full of bees, they're just about ready to swarm.
Yeah. If you buy some, don't buy some.
Yeah. Don't buy them online either, because people buy them online and you never know what you're gonna get. Half the time they're heated, a bunch of them are dead. If you're gonna buy, please buy local, got great vendors.
I think Man Lake says in their literature, if you, this is about packages, they allow like up to an inch of dead bees or more than an inch of dead bees on the bottom of the package. I mean, you're not gonna get that from anyone here selling packages, I don't think.
That's
Right.
why PSBA does this, it's because it's all really honest quality. Nobody's pretending to sell something you don't understand. And that's why we do it, because it's really easy to get spoofed.
We're keeping the bad packages for ourselves. We have the knowledge to, I mean, if you got a bunch of dead bees. Huh? We can baby it back to life, or we can combine two together and then split them, put another queen. You know, we can do tricky things to make them right. But to send you home with a subpart package with an inch of dead bees in the bottom, you're not gonna get that from either.
I have a point that I'd like to bring up, and I'd be curious if anyone else thinks about this. You know, you were talking about people that sell local news.
Yeah.
Over winter. I have a little bit of trouble with the commercial guys that have had their bees down in holding yards in California from December on, bring them up here and call those local overwintered nukes, because they're really not. Their bees wintered in California, which there still could be a fine nuke, but it's not like they lived out a winter in the Northwest.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I sell overwinter nukes and spring queens, and some years the spring queens aren't as good as the overwinter queens because spring queens can not get mated fully. And I hold on to mine, and most people do the same to make sure that they're laying really well. And you send out the nuke, and a month later they've superseded her because she didn't get super well mated in April or May. I mean, the best queens here are mated in June and July and August, even into September, but June, July, August, that's usually when the best queens come out. Sometimes, so my take home message is overwintered queens, if you get a nuke from here, but the overwintered queens usually come out late April for the nukes because you have to hold on to them long enough so that the new queens can get mated. But again, it's a tricky deal. You have to look at the calendar and say, okay, well, I'm pretty sure the queens are going to get mated, the new ones. So you let your old queens go. And then the new queens, it rains and there's a storm and things go bad. So sometimes you just never know. Overwinter queens are great, and spring queens can be great or not so much. Full honesty.
Does everybody understand the mating process and what goes wrong with the mating process? You want to talk about that? It's interesting.
Sure. I mean, if you guys have time.
You have time? All right, so how does a commercial beekeeper raise their queens, and why are they so big in California? It doesn't typically rain in California, so you have queens that lay eggs, and then they pull off 2 to 3 day larvae out of these frames, and they put them into a cell, right? And so that's from a mating queen. They're going to put them into an egg incubator, and they're going to be able to put these into little mating boxes, little tiny boxes, right? And so when you mate queens, it is a calendar cycle. So if I'm going to go on vacation for 3 days and I'm going to peace out for 2, I'm not a good bees mater. You have to, every single day, you're doing something in the process. When the queen emerges, she has roughly a week, right, to go fly out of the colony to the drone mating grounds. So the drones are the boy bees. They're there to do 2 things: eat honey in the hive and have sex with the queen. It's a pretty cool life. They go into this drone mating area, they fly up into all these drones, and they mate with 15 boy bees. Boy bees mate, they die. Queen comes back, and is considered native, right? And it starts laying queens and she's fertile. If it rains in that cycle and she can't go out, guess what? Maybe she didn't get mated correctly. If you have a bad drone population or not enough drones for her to mate with, she does not become a truly good mated queen, and that will result in bad laying within your colony.
So for local queens, picture April and May in Seattle. And oh, by the way, it also needs to be around 70 degrees for her to leave the house. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes not so much.
So your delivery dates from any of us will get delayed if California has a lot of rain. Because they're not getting good mating in California. So what will happen is they will push the date, push the date, push the date. It's not because they don't like us in Washington. It's because they are trying to get the right weather pattern to get good mating queens within that period of time.
I was 24, right? Yeah.
So, just on nukes, you're telling me they set their nukes up in the fall? And typically, and then in California, or wherever, and then they're using a queen from previous season? Or are they pulling, I thought they were pulling,
They set them up after the almonds are done.
yeah, I thought they were pulling frames out and then putting them.
After almond pollination.
You're talking about two things, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so how do you know the difference between over and nuke and a?
So you're talking about the queen.
Not a
So,
queen cage.
so did the queen, so like,
But I mean, I just bought nukes and I've never seen any over winter
Yeah.
nukes or.
They would be marketed
yeah,
by a lawyer.
yeah, so like on my Seattle honeybees page, I have overwinter nukes and spring nukes. And the overwinter nukes have everything to do about, is it last year's queen or is it this year's? So an overwintered nuke has last year's queen in it. A spring nuke has this year's,
But all you guys are selling California queen.
that are this year's queen.
Right, that would be this year's.
Exactly.
A spring queen from the Northwest
Is,
is risky business. Yeah.
yeah, and so May and June is, spring nukes, if you want local queens, come out in May or early June.
We don't get mating.
Yeah,
Right before the blackberries.
Yeah, you don't get mating for queens here that's decent until June, July.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
We're making our own, I'm making my own nukes that time and it takes away from the hives that are gonna be making honey, so it's open, sort of limited product. Makes it a higher value. The best product is gonna come at that time of year, and then you're gonna get it in the next season. So there's a higher price on that. So it's about preservation, right? So someone that doesn't want to buy bees, like he does, he's preserving in June and July for the following season. Again, it's a smart methodology in order to ensure that you don't have to spend money on your stock next year. And that's what you should be doing, always thinking about next year, next year, next year. Some people requeen. You know, a lot of people pull those old queens and they'll put them in the new. And they'll requeen to them. And sometimes those make you the winners, sometimes they don't. I won't recommend anybody sells them. It's rough.
I had people trying to sell unmade queens. Here's what it seems like. Risky business. That's
I
fine.
guarantee you won't buy from them next year.
No, I didn't buy from the first time.
I don't guarantee they won't be sitting in this room.
Depending on where you live, that's actually not so unusual, in. Not unmated queens and even queen cells are sold pretty regularly. Not in our climate, but other places.
So it's because of the almonds and things that go.
It's almonds, you know why? Because they shake the. Have you ever seen how they harvest almonds? So they shake the hell out.
Yeah, this is HCC elements. And almonds are where the money is pollinated.
For commercial.
$200. You get the pollination money and also your send bees down here, they get on your start, you guys. Yeah, food and pollen.
earlier in the season.
Warm.
And warm there, earlier in the season than they would get there. So they come from all over the country. All in, all the last I heard, there wasn't gonna be enough bees to pollinate. There never is, you know.
Yeah.
So your almond crops are dictated by how far the bees are apart within the almond orchards. So if there's not enough bees, they don't get as much pollen density and the fruit off the tree. And so when you take your bees into almonds, they'll actually do inspections and make sure that the plant's big enough before you work with the contract price. So it's 250 to 300 or whatever your almond is. When pollen comes in, like he said early, that tells the queen to lay, they start building up very quickly, and then they take that as a byproduct and they split it back.
Well, yeah, you're just getting a jump start from the season, because they get into almonds still that quicker, so. Yeah, so that's how the industry works. So the beekeepers down there, their bees build up starting in February. And so when our bees are still sitting out in rain, they're hives are getting ready to swarm. So they're making their splits and they have an abundance of bees at that time. We don't have very many. You know, we have losses from the years. So we're able to use their excess and then it's
It's the start of these with the.
Yeah,
It's really.
it's the earliest
And it's.
in the West Coast.
Well, where would it be? Well,
I want to say like Florida for East Coast.
it's orchard.
Correct. Yeah, so there's a fee per.
Well, it's not exactly always the same bees, but it's like Kip was saying, that is the beginning of certainly on the West Coast and even all the way into the Midwest. A lot of the Midwest bees are coming out of California also. But there's such an abundance of bees. So all those commercial beekeepers have twice as many bees as they had when they first went down there. So splits are made, outline apiaries are set up, and our packages are being poured out of those outline apiaries. So some like Eastern Washington commercial guys, they bring their bees back and they make their splits up here, usually with introduced queens because it still is the Northwest. But that's all determined by what happens in almonds. And by the way, it's going to be an early almond season this year, so I would expect our packages and nukes to be pretty robust and probably in really no delays that anyone's anticipating right now. I mean, the bees are in the almonds are already.
Wait, the trees are in bloom now.
No, they're not in bloom, but they're starting, and the bees are in the fields, in the orchards.
And the almond growers want every single flower and every single tree to be pollen. Like that's not the same for all crops, you know, all fruit trees, but almonds in particular, like they want every single flower except, so it takes a ton of bees.
Very pollinator dependent.
Yeah, so that's why the price is so high.
Damn trees there.
Everywhere, 400-mile long bee yard, right?
Honeybees are actually not very efficient pollinators on the scale of most they pollinator insects. They just make up for it in numbers and that maybe you can figure out how to manage them. Which is a lot, they need more and more bees.
One, you know, California, it's one of the only places where almonds grow. So Spain is in there. One of the only places you grow almonds grow from Turkey, yeah. So like, yeah, that's why there's such an abundance of almonds there, such demand for the almonds with one.
So hello, everybody. I don't know if I don't want to interrupt our vendors if there were things that was a high priority for them to cover, but I do want to say hello to some of our new and potential new beekeepers. I've been part of this. My name's Brian. I've been part of this group for 7 years. I've actually only been keeping bees for 6 years. And I want to say to some of the newcomers, if you have the inclination to join us and attend meetings and get the beginner classes for a few months before you jump in, and you want to count your year zero before you actually own any bees, you are very welcome to do so. Second, that this is the time of year if you really want to commit to having bees this year. All of these vendors have made it clear that you have about another 2 months to plop down some money if you want to get bees from them. So think about it seriously. Third, I want to say that everybody's mentioning, a package of bees for 200 or a nuke of bees for 225, 250. Many of us have heard it recommended that if you're a newcomer, it's a good idea to start with 2 packages or 2 nukes, 2 colonies, 2 hives of bees. You can watch how each of them develop. It gives you more opportunity to get into the hives without disturbing them. A lot of other reasons. And then I want to add to that, in addition to that, $400 or $500, if you're really ready to jump in, you could very well spend 3 times that on new equipment. My first year, I spent about $1,500 on stuff and $500 on bees. And you can sometimes find used stuff. I know there are people out there. If you were listening about hour and a half, almost 2 hours ago, about the discussion of, hey, I got this equipment from someone whose bees died. Is it a good idea? What could they have died from? So there's a lot of mixed opinions on that. I am going to drop something into the chat right now. I am leaving beekeeping. I have some medical reasons for doing so, and I would love if 1 or 2 of you who are thinking about becoming new beekeepers would be willing to take my stuff off of my hands at a tremendous discount. I walked through, inventoried my stuff, and there's well over $3,000 worth of stuff if it was new, not counting the bees. And I sort of parceled it out. There's definitely enough stuff for 2 people to have 3 or more hives worth of equipment. You'd each get a smoker and a hive tool and a jacket and veil. And I am going to say, let me also, for those of you who aren't on the chat, can I share my screen?
Yes, everybody can.
Okay.
Stop sharing.
I just
Oh, yeah,
tried to
so-
share my screen and it says the host isn't allowing multiple presenters sharing for this meeting. There we go. Let me try again. All I wanted to say is if someone wants to call me or email me, you can copy this down. And I don't want to take up more of anybody else's time, but I would love to see if some beginners want
Where are you located? That might help.
North Seattle,
Okay.
near Shoreline.
Right, with that, I think we should wrap because people in the room would like to have a little bit of one-on-one time with the local vendors. For those of you who are online, you have access on the Facebook page, Puget Sound Beekeepers Facebook page. I put the link in there today. So you can reach out to the vendors one-on-one afterwards. Thanks everybody for joining. Hope to see you again in February.
And I have samples, or a sample of spotted